A warm welcome. My name's Federico and this is InspireTalk. In this episode today we are looking at the formula to success for a top-tier wellness brand, and joining me today is Managing Director Oliver Horn from Swisse. How are you, Oliver?
Very well, thank you very much, Federico.
It's an absolute pleasure and honour to have you part of this show. So Oliver, I guess I really want to dig deep into your culture of Swisse and really understand the journey that it's taken from day one, back in the 1960s, to where it is today, you know, in the 21st century. And without a doubt, as Australians, but also as foreigners, we do know that the Swisse brand does signify quality, does signify a high standard, and obviously there's a lot more to it than that. So I guess my first question really hinges around the ethos and the mission of Swisse. So in a few words, describe it to me.
Yeah. So in a very few words, our mission is very simple, is to make people around the world healthier and happier. And really that was born in the very late 60s, early 70s, when Kevin Ring, really sold the first pollen product out of his organic bakery, here in Collingwood, so literally where we are now. His vision was already then to make people's life healthier and happier, and he thought out a product in Switzerland which he thought was the best ingredients and the best efficacy, and sold it here, and that's how it started at the inception. And I think we're very much true to that philosophy, seeking globally the best ingredients, creating the best products, and giving something consumers to improve their lives on an everyday basis. And that vision has carried through. It is as relevant as it was then as it is today, and now it's just very much on a bigger scale, as you can see around us.
And obviously the company, from its earlier stages, from its humble beginnings, has gone through many stages of growth.
Yes.
And today, without a doubt, your culture is very much hinged around health and happiness. And off air we were talking about that as you took us through your office environment. Describe that in more detail, what health and happiness actually means to you and to your people.
So for us, health and happiness is not just a construct, it really, we live it every day. And that is underpinned by three fundamental pillars. So the three pillars are movement, nutrition and mindfulness. And we believe that in order to have a holistic health and happiness approach, you need to provide support for your employees, but also for the community around those three pillars. So what we do in the office, for example, every day is do an activity around those three pillars. So for example, we provide organic foods every day. As example, today we provide free lunches to staff that are really healthy. But then we have also a gym on site where we promote movement. We have instructors on site, we have ergonomic classes, and we just inspire people to move during lunchtime, have walk sessions or walking teams or running clubs. So we promote movement. And the third piece is for us mindfulness. At 3 o'clock there will be a bell today, and we invite everybody to meditate and take time out and recharge their batteries. And we have guided mindfulness session. We also have yoga sessions. And so we balance those three pillars every day, and we believe that our employees need to feel the benefit every day in order to then be at their best, live to their potential, be highly productive, and eventually create great products for consumers.
Look, it's great to see that your internal ways of functioning is very much reflective of the culture of the business as seen from the outside. So obviously Swisse is about health and wellness, but I can see that you're adopting that internally, so there is obviously a lot of authenticity behind that culture.
That's right, yeah.
So with that culture there's the entrepreneurial side as well. So looking at the history of Swisse and the way it was built by the original founder and former leaders, how is that entrepreneurial culture fostered on a day-to-day as far as opportunity and innovation and so forth? I
think it's a great question, a great concept. And if we look back on our past, there were two deciding figures who really were entrepreneurs. Three actually. It's Kevin Ring, and then Michael Saba, who was MD to 2007, 2008, Radek Sali, and all a history of entrepreneurs. And back then, the company was a much smaller company, and the entrepreneur was the person who basically was a catalyst for growth and the catalyst for behavior and shaped the organization. But the organization was much smaller, and now for us it's, we are 300 odd people globally. We're in this office over 200 people, and the question is, okay, how do we do that in an area where leadership changes more rapidly? And the answer for us is it's a collective leadership approach. We like to think about this as a house of entrepreneurs. We have we give quite a lot of autonomy to our staff, and we give them accountabilities way beyond probably what they're used to in other organizations, and inspire them to make decisions. And we like to think about that, about mini entrepreneurs, that are working every day to achieve the best outcome for themselves, but also for the company. And we're not a controlling organization. Our executive is here to actually promote personal development and make people healthy and happy. And I really mean that in a true sense of the words. And we believe that people make the right decision as a consequence and chase those opportunities. Think, with a different mindset, that is more creative than what bigger corporates allow you to do. So we sort of forget a bit about the process and the organizational aspects that is very quite regimented, and give people freedom to decide and develop and create free thinking spirits around them.
So really you're tapping into their passions, into their own intuitive mind.
That's right. Yeah.
And what the vision they have for the company. And I guess I like to also use the word entrepreneurs. So you do have entrepreneurs operating within the company, and that's great. In terms of the brand itself, and look, Swisse without a doubt is a world-ranking brand, and apart from having strong presence in the Australian marketplace, it's also gone abroad. In terms of the perception that Swisse has from an international perspective, what do you think it is?
I think, look, the first thing is the name. People, a lot of times associated when they meet it for the first time, the brand, as a Swiss brand, obviously. And that comes with a connotation of pureness, accuracy, well-researched, and that all plays into our brand DNA. But when they get to know the brand, it's really an Australian brand. And I think people really appreciate what Australia stands for. It stands for lifestyle, it stands for purity, it stands for cleanness, but also it stands for a very regulated environment. The TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, is a very regulated environment that guarantees that our products are well produced and to the highest standards. And so, what it then means for consumers is they can really trust on a product that is, well researched, with scientific evidence behind it, and that contains the best ingredients possible. And so they experience that brand through their consumption about the product. But then we overlay a marketing dimension to it as well. And I like to think we're the first brand who really created a lifestyle brand in that space. And with all of our global ambassadors, we're bringing that to the world, and we have ambassadors which are known around the world, and they position it as a product that you can take every day and that fits into your life. It's not just a pharmacy brand that is very special and niche.
Sure. You've touched upon brand ambassadors, and I know that historically brands, names like Nicole Kidman and Ricky Ponting have appeared in the branding strategy. How is that influential and important for the long-term success of Swisse?
Yeah, I think it's tremendously important, because I think people can relate to people in the first instance, and not to products. And so for us, the ambassadors were just the great endorsers, and almost like a catalyst, for people to feel, warm and attracted to the brand. And so we go to great lengths to partner with our ambassadors. But they're also a bit more than just a showpiece. We, as you know, we partner for long term with our ambassadors. So Nicole Kidman has been with us for a long time. Ricky Ponting has been with us for a long time. And what we like to think is that they become part of our DNA, and they use our products, they contribute with content to our marketing message, yes, but they also become partners on our journey, and it creates that credibility that ambassador is not just somebody you pay for, that is a marketing construct. They believe in your brand, they promote it, they use it, and they become part of the team, really.
Great. You keep referring to the DNA, and I keep thinking science here. And obviously, the success to Swisse is the scientific team that you have around you. Yeah. And even within this office here in Collingwood, you do have a team of scientists that do work with product development. So describe that in a bit more detail. Yeah.
So R&D for us is really where it's all at, and we work very closely with our contract manufacturers and suppliers to get unique ingredients that have a proven efficacy, and where we have clinical trials to support any claims that we make, because that's what the TGA requires. But also for us, we're doing long-term research, so we invest in 2-3 year research projects. For example, we have a partnership with Cyro to develop new technologies and to develop new products. And what we really have to do is we need to be able to prove efficacy in a much more readily available manner than probably the industry has done previously. And we are ready to invest against that, because we realize that natural, or nutraceuticals, are a new territory and a new field in Australia for sure. And so we want to give it legitimacy by giving it the scientific base, and that's what we're investing in very heavily as an industry leader.
Sure. So it's more than just vitamins and minerals. There's obviously a whole legacy and a whole science behind the success of the brand. In terms of your international exposure, going back to that point before, you do have strong presence in the Chinese market as well. And I do know from research that I've undertaken that you are in the top rank in terms of wellness product on the online channel.
That's right, yeah.
So that's obviously a huge testament to your success as a company. What is the perception, I guess, from Australia that you are selling to China? So I guess looking at it from that dimension.
And I think the short answer is that consumers selected us. We haven't pushed ourselves on the consumers. The Chinese acceptance of our product happened really to Chinese students going to school here, finding the products and thinking, wow, this is a unique product. My family actually will like it over in China. And it was brought over to China and it was a suitcase trade. And that's how the brand really started off. It is actually the #1 online brand in China in that segment. And it was that before we even started selling in China itself. So it's just peer-to-peer selling, and word of mouth is really what drove the brand. And why they believe in Swisse? I think it's A, they can relate to our ambassadors. B, they know it's high quality, it's well researched, it's proven, it's aspirational, and it sits as a premium to other products, and that signals quality to them. And I think that's what international markets are all about. They look at Australia as a source, as an origin, that really oozes credibility and aspiration, for that matter.
Sure. Look, without a doubt, the health and wellness sector, particularly in the vitamin mineral industry, is very saturated. Yeah. And you are competing with a lot of other brands out there that are also trying to fight for the same space. Fundamentally, what makes you different to those other brands?
It's a very good question. I like to think that it's actually our culture that makes us different. I think we will always win in the people arena. I like to think we recruit the most talented, the highest potential individuals with our brand. We are an employer of choice. We have been voted Employer of Choice 2016. We just got word from the University of Michigan that we are one of the top 5 most positive companies in the world, as a matter of fact. And that attracts people, and people that want to work for us. We can select the best talent and produce the best results. So I really believe that culture is our big disruptor, is our biggest asset, and the people beyond that. And as a result of that, we create products that are on the forefront, of where the category goes. We like to anticipate trends, shape trends, and create categories, like we did in the early 90s with the first women's multivitamin project. And so I think it really comes down to people. I know it sounds very stereotype, but I think in our case it's really true.
Look, without a doubt, there's a lot of evidence from the past that you are disrupting this industry. Looking ahead another, say, 15, 20 years, how can you further disrupt this industry?
Yeah, and I think the possibilities are endless. I really think. If you think about macroeconomic trends, aging population, people becoming more and more conscious about health and well-being. And it's just one of those macro trends, so we're well positioned for that. And then as people are getting more educated and more involved into the category, they become more experimental. We're seeing a really big opportunity in cognitive health. As people get older, facing cognitive declines and even dementia, there will be opportunities for us to provide solutions for that. But also as people become more confident in making choices, they become more interested in self-diagnosis. And I believe that the next 10 to 20 years, we'll see a vast area of technology, that tells you where you're deficient in what areas. And so it's not a guessing game anymore. It's not relying on a doctor to tell you, or a blood test to tell you. And I think it's that self-diagnosis that then leads to a regime that is really personalized, that we can help with, to really create an aspect of holistic health. And then overlay that with behavioral shifts. I think people nowadays not only seeking a quick fix with a pill, they're seeking to make lasting changes, behavioral changes. And internally we provide mindfulness, yoga, meditation, and I think that's the other dimensions which we look to add in the next 10 or 20 years to our services. So who is not to say that we can add a psychological dimension to our services rather than just a product dimension? Look,
it's fascinating the way you're describing the future, and particularly how Swisse fits into that. And I'm imagining, say, the mission to Mars and how the astronauts are using Swisse vitamins to keep themselves running, and there's a whole supplement system around that. So I can certainly see how Swisse could potentially fit into that technological space as well. Coming back to marketing, and I guess I'd like to sort of drill into that area a bit more. Apart from having brand ambassadors supporting your brand, how does social media fit into all this, and how does it work for the target market that you're in?
So I think social media is the biggest regulator in any market these days, and it keeps us honest, because I love following social media commentary that consumers give us in real time when they consume our product. And so for me, social media is just a source of truth, first and foremost. And that helps us to make better decisions and being more socially responsible in what we do, how we market, how we sell ourselves, what products we create. And so I almost see it as a dialogue. That's one aspect of social media which I really believe in. And the second one is for social media for us to be really omnipresent. And I think that's what traditional media you just can't do. So, social media is there in your pocket every day at the fingertip. And if we can combine the social media readiness and availability with a real service solution to consumers that in the moment gives them an added benefit about what they need, what their deficiencies are, what their wellness status is, then this is for us an ultimate platform to become part of people's life. Not only in the at-home consumption where you have a capsule in your bathroom, that you take before you go to bed, but it becomes a real-time lifestyle choice. And I think social media will be the platform for that.
Sure. You've also touched upon briefly on social entrepreneurship. I guess
yes.
It's sort of something that strikes me as being evident in your company philosophy and commitment. So I know that you're very much engaged with the community.
Yeah, that's right.
And how important is that for your company and generally speaking for any other company looking at innovating, growing and being present in the marketplace?
Yeah. So coming back, our mission is to make millions of people healthier and happier. And it would be very shallow if that means we just want to sell millions of people our product, because it's a very commercial enterprise. We like to think it's very different. We need to give back to the community. And it's really, you only become true to that vision if you do something outside of the things that make you money. And so we have, for example, the Celebrate Life Foundation. We raised over the last couple of years $2 million that we gave back to the community. We partner with different charities. And as a matter of fact, I think we do too little to it. So I think what you will see over the next 2 years is that we invest much more readily into giving people's time to the local community in volunteering days. That will be on the forefront of what we do to get grassroots involvement, but also partnering on a bigger scale with charities to give back to society. And I come back to the 3 pillars that we're based on. We're about movement, nutrition and mindfulness, and we're supporting the community in those 3 pillars. So if it fits into that, for example, cycling to work, walking to work, that ticks a box and we want to help that. If it's malnutritioned children, in Australia, yes, we're going to be really big behind that. And we want to make that on a scale that makes a tangible difference, and we want to be proud of it. I think the other dimension for me is people come to work for 2 reasons. One is they like the people that I work with, and they like the sense of purpose that they get from it. And I think that purpose is not only from the tasks that you do every day, it's that belief that you're part of a bigger thing that makes a difference
Sure.
in people's life. And I think that's why social entrepreneurship is so important. It's to give purpose to employees, and particularly Generation Z.
Sure.
That's what they're looking for.
Sure. And I guess there is a certain expectation from the public that a company of your size does engage in some form of social entrepreneurship and it's authentic as far as your day-to-day activities. Is that right?
Yes, there is. And to be fair, I'm quite relaxed about it. I'm actually not guided by that. I think we have such an intuitive passion internally. It's almost bigger than any expectation that anybody
Sure.
can bring out from the outset upon us. We just strive to do better, and it's our mission, so it comes from within. And I like to think that we exceed external expectations in the process.
I'm sure you are, and I guess looking ahead into the distant future, once again, given that your company is in such a position of authority and importance, what change would you like to see happening in the industry to benefit, I guess, the public, but also the community and the globe?
I think in our industry, the change that I like to see is that health professionals become more readily educated about the benefits of nutraceuticals and natural therapies. We've got the National Institute of Integrative Medicine, based here in Melbourne, which has been over the last 20 years really, driving a change of mindset in the health practitioner space. And today, still Australia, I think it's on the backbenches of the global stage of natural products. When we go to Switzerland or mainland Europe, Germany, Austria, you can get natural health remedies on your health insurance. And that's not happening here. Here it's still a bit of a new, sometimes, a lot of times actually challenged part of medicine, and that's looked down upon. I think we can change that because we know it works. It has no side effects. and it can make a massive difference. I think that change needs to transpire through Australia and through the world, where it's not as established as in mainland Europe, for example.
Great. Exciting times ahead, Oliver. I'm sure that there's a lot of new developments happening as we speak. And thanks again for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.